because we want to penalize them for not having gotten it the first time. And I'm just going to be very clear in saying that I believe that all of our students need to create the depth of knowledge that they're going to need to move on. And I believe that all of our students have good and bad days. What I would say, though, is the students who have that given aptitude in whatever the subject is going to be and can get it on the first time, those are the students that you're going to see scoring the 5s on the AP exam. Those are the students that you're going to see scoring the 28s and the 30s on the ACT. Those are the students that are going to have those summative metrics that are off the charts, and that's what's going to truly set them apart from the other students. You'll also see those students 9 times out of 10 have a GPA that's far superior to the students that need to do it again and again. So there will be a natural distinction, and your daughter will still stand out from the students that have to work at it harder.
Could you master have them master it without grading it though?
Try it one more time.
Could you create a system? I mean, I don't, because I'm learning more this evening, and I'm glad. I'm not so. I'm less concerned what I've learned tonight in terms of the teaching process or the education process. It sounds like a good idea. I'm more. I think more of us are concerned about the dragging down of the top for the benefit of the bottom. And a lot of the studies that you point to, I've read, and it is for mentally, or I don't know what the correct, learning disabled. Caught that, checks in. Learning disabled and poor performing students. And my thought is, why couldn't you take the test one? The grade you get is the grade you get. If it's truly about mastering learning, allow the students who scored an F, a D, a C, to continue to master the learning. Just in the instance the grade doesn't matter, the learning does. Why not have a system where they'll get a C and then a P, P's for the pass. I could take in law school, I could take a pass-fail. Grade didn't matter, I mastered it, that was a pass. Why, if the grade is not important, the mastering is, why allow the grade to move up? What's the purpose of allowing the grade to move up if it's truly just the mastering? That's what I'm still lost on. There seems to be a disconnect.
It's a good question, and I'm sure a question shared by others. I have a couple of points. One is, at the end of the day, we report out a transcript that has a grade that says biology. It doesn't say biology and showing up on time or study habits or any of the other things. It says biology and it has a grade. And our university system is looking at it and hoping that when they see a grade of A, that means you really understand the stuff. Their problem, the reason they have that 50% dropout rate from freshman year to actually finishing, is because they've got kids coming in with inflated grades and inflated metrics that would look on paper like they've got a deep understanding of something, and then they show up and they don't. So we want our metric, when we report it out at the end of the day, to be accurate. And to do that, that means that if the student does show me mastery, then I've got to have a reporting structure that demonstrates that. The second thing that I would say, and I'm going to be blunt, I think one of the fears that I've heard is, I've got a really high-performing kid, and I don't want the kids who haven't been high-performing, haven't worked as hard, and don't have the same aptitudes to take away advantages from my kid. And that's a legitimate concern. What I would tell you is that the kids who you're referring to, most, and this is a generalization, and I don't like making them, but I'm going to be honest with you, most of the kids that you're referring to are not going to be in the same classes that your kid's in. So what's going to set them apart is when that university looks at it and says, well, this kid was taking honors in AP, and this kid was taking auto shop and wood shop and some other courses. They're going to naturally be distinguished, and the kids are not even going to be applying at the same schools because they're in two different leagues. They're going down several different paths. So we've always had that situation. If you look at one student may have taken Spanish 5, which is considered an honors class, and another student for their elective took my business class when I was teaching business. At the end of the day, it calculated pretty much the same way, but what set them apart was the level of rigor of the course that they chose to take while they were in high school. Now, I don't want to dissuade anyone from taking business or marketing or autos or woods or whatever it is that you're interested in, but I want you to know there is a direct distinction between those when you go to apply for college or university.
Back here, back here.
Dave, I got it.
Oh, all right, I was like, do I have the microphone?
Yeah, you got it in your hand.
Right.
I share the same concerns everybody else is sharing, and when I was going through reading the material, some of it, I have to tell you, I was a little surprised it was on the website. A surgeon can go back to repair something that went wrong. I'm going to tell you, if you're a surgeon and you made a mistake in surgery, you're going to get to do it once. Second time, you're not going to be a surgeon. So reading through some of these things, I was a little concerned that this was even out there. And then I got into reading about the learning targets. And we're going to set the learning target at the floor and not the ceiling. So we're going to downgrade it so that everybody can get there. And I'll be honest, I don't want to offend anybody, but I looked at this like socialized learning. We are going to dummy the school down, give everybody a chance to do a redo, and I'm going to tell you, in the real world, you're not going to get a redo. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And the kids who are doing well, my son is in Spanish, my son is extremely, extremely bright. He figured out in a heartbeat not to do his homework, it didn't matter. He didn't really care. He could take the test, he had hockey the night before, so didn't give it any effort, didn't do well, said, okay, I can go in 2 days, retake this test, and I'll get an A, which he did, and aced it. And he figured it out real quick. And so they're playing the game, and they know how to do it. And I think that by putting our learning targets on the floor and not the ceiling, we're not helping anybody. And I don't think we need to dumb down the top half of the school to hit the bottom half, and I don't want to leave the bottom half behind. But as I said, I feel like this looks like socialized learning.
And I want to address the floor to ceiling piece first and head on. What we mean by that analogy is that we're setting the standard and we expect everybody to get there. We recognize, and the easiest way to describe this is in music, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday at the forum, that we expect musicians to be able to perform. They all need to be able to perform at mastery. But we have incredibly talented musicians that are naturally gifted beyond belief, that are going to go far surpassing that. And that might be the small 1 or 2% of all of the kids in band, and the 1% of all of the kids in orchestra and in choir. But there are kids that are off the charts. If you go to a different subject matter, chemistry, we've got kids who go through all the way through AP chemistry at their junior year. So they've reached it, and that's what we're calling the floor. And they're saying, but I want to do more. I've got, I think, 3 kids right now who are studying at, I think they're at Kettle, but they might not be. If they're not at Kettle, they're at another university. We're paying for them to go there under state law because they've exhausted the curriculum that we have. They've reached it. It's our level of mastery that we're able to provide, and these kids are off the charts. So we're going to continue to challenge them, and we will continue to do that. I won't ask you to show your hands, but we have many gifted and talented kids in this community. And there are kids that are talented and gifted in many different areas. And that's where you're going to see those kids that are not only going to the ceiling, but going through the roof. The piece about reassessment, you know, it's a tricky piece. It's difficult to understand. What I can tell you is that it's better than the system we've been using for the last 100 years. It's not perfect. And the kids who are playing the reassessment game, that's where we need to tighten up the standards. And we've done this in a couple of areas where instead of being able to say, you know what, I bombed it, can I redo it? The question the teacher asks first is, no, because my criteria are, in order to be eligible for reassessment, you had to have done the formative work along the way. And that's where we get to those employee